So, in this episode, I'm just going to speak briefly and kind of speak from the cuff my thoughts on the Lazar Dukic situation. By this point, I think that everybody is aware there was a death at the CrossFit Games during the swim event. A Serbian athlete known as Lazar Dukic drowned, and a lot of people are understandably very upset about that. Upset and feeling a tremendous range of emotions. Some people very angry, some people just hurt or upset or not sure how to feel. A lot of people are just trying to process a complex whirlwind of emotions related to this. And I think it's very much human nature in the wake of a massive tragedy to feel this tidal wave, this rush of different emotions, whether it be anger or hurt or, I don't know, betrayal perhaps. And it's very easy for any of us, myself included, to immediately look to assign blame as quickly as possible. And before I even get into that, this is a very unfiltered, unrehearsed, unscripted feedback thought loop of my own. So if I speak imperfectly or if I say something that doesn't seem perfectly edited, well, that's because this isn't. This is a free flow of thought. And I thank you all for your grace and your patience with me as I speak on the topic. I probably should even start by saying that all my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody affected. I did not know Lazar Dukic personally. I was well aware of him as somebody who follows the CrossFit Games and CrossFit competitors online. I've seen him do spectacular things. He's an incredible athlete. By all accounts, from people who did know him, they were also very quick to speak highly of him and to say he was a person full of joy and positivity and always had a smile and a laugh for people. The nicest dude, super uplifting and positive presence. They speak very highly of him. And I can't begin to wrap my brain around what it must be like to be a member of his family and send this guy to the CrossFit Games and as a potential contender, send your son, your brother, your friend, your training partner to the CrossFit Games as a potential contender who might win the CrossFit Games and be the first time Serbian to be on the podium or whatever, and instead have the rug pulled out from underneath you, and now he's dead, and you're a family trying to figure out everything that goes with the loss of the breadwinner, probably the primary provider for his family. Like, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like for them to deal with all of this. So, my heart goes out to them because I can't imagine what a shock, how sudden a shock it must be. And that brings me back to what I was saying at the start, that we're all kind of shocked and surprised. And, the internet it gives us all the opportunity to see real time stuff happening right before us. A lot of people have seen the video of Lazar's last moments when he's swimming and then he goes under. And what I was saying earlier in the podcast was that I think it's very easy for all of us to jump to judgment or want to have judgment. We want to have justice right now. We want to have answers right now. We want somebody to take responsibility right now because we're angry or we feel betrayed or we feel some kind of way. And I am reassured to know that CrossFit headquarters has commissioned an independent investigation to go and do the due diligence of investigation for what happened at the games. And was this preventable? Did somebody fail to perform proper safety measures ahead of time? Were there proper safety measures in place? Did somebody drop the ball? Is this somebody's fault? Can we point fingers at somebody? Like, on the one hand, I'm encouraged to know that CrossFit has commissioned this study. So in theory, they'll be able to, because an independent third party in theory will produce an unbiased report that will give the complete full picture, and we can all make a more informed decision at that point about who is culpable in this, if anybody, and we can draw better conclusions right now. We could draw better conclusions at that point, because the easy thing, the default thing, I think, for so many of us is to immediately rush to judgment that this must be Dave Castro's fault. This must be Don Fall's fault, that CrossFit was being too cavalier with the CrossFit athlete's safety, that the lifeguards fill in the blank or whatever. There must have been an insufficient safety presence there at the games. Again, it's human nature for all of us to want answers right now, and judgment right now, and justice right now, and somebody needs to take the fall for this right now. But I want to encourage everybody out there to take a beat and realize how much we don't know. So as somebody, I want to say that again, take a beat and just recognize that at this point, realize how much we don't know. And there is a lot that we don't know right now. So for example, as somebody myself who's put on many events, many fitness competitions and events over the years, I want to point out that you can't just go and organize an open water swim without directly working with the city and having to meet certain requirements set by the city. You can't just go and organize a run on a public road without talking to people who are going to be affected and talking to the city about people who are going to be affected by this. And it's very easy to be on the sidelines and say, well, clearly there should have been more lifeguards right there. But just consider this for a moment, that it is very possible that the CrossFit Games was working in tandem with whoever's in charge of safety and public events, sports, parks and rec, whatever, in Dallas-Fort Worth, and the Dallas-Fort Worth authorities in charge of such things said, okay, well, we have these measures for any public event, any triathlon. You have to have this many safety personnel, this many trained lifeguards per number of competitors. And it's possible that CrossFit headquarters was following exactly what the Dallas-Fort Worth area authorities required. It may not have been a decision that CrossFit headquarters even made. Again, what I'm saying is that you can't just go out and do a CrossFit Games event in a lake or on a road without getting proper authorization from the proper authorities. So keeping that in mind, we don't know whether or not CrossFit met the requirements or not, whether somebody dropped the ball or not. It's just really too early to say about a lot of those things. And I hope that I don't sound like some sort of apologist for CrossFit headquarters, because anybody who really knows me knows that I've been highly critical of headquarters for many things over the years. And I think it is quite possible that somebody or some bodies really dropped the ball at the corporate level, and that directly contributed to a man's death. Is that possible? Absolutely. But what I think is important for all of us to do here is to reserve judgment and exhibit the emotional discipline that it takes to say, we're going to wait and get all the facts as much as possible. And we're going to wait to learn more about what really happened before we go and start pointing fingers, assigning blame, and deciding whose head needs to go under the guillotine for this. It's nobody wanted this to happen. I can assure you this, that as somebody who's interacted with Dave Castro on multiple occasions, Dave Castro, just for example, is a good dude who really does care about the athletes, no matter what people say about him. And I think that he deserves, because he's been a member of our community as long as anybody, he deserves the right to a fair trial as much as anybody else. He deserves due process like anybody else. And he deserves to have, he deserves to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, just like Don Fall, just like the lifeguards, just like the other athletes, like everybody who's involved at the CrossFit Games. I don't think that this event is going to be the end of the CrossFit Games, nor should it be. But perhaps what it can be is the beginning of a very meaningful, important dialogue amongst all of us about what can be done better in future to ensure the safety of the athletes, which I think is what we all want anyway. So I just wanted to share these thoughts with all of you guys. I'm still processing and trying to even wrap my head around what I'm feeling regarding the death of Lazar Dukic. There really are no words. And so I apologize for my inarticulate, unfiltered thoughts on this. And I don't know, maybe this is helpful for somebody in some way. Maybe it's helpful for me to kind of get the words out and try to begin processing verbally how I feel about it. Maybe these thoughts help you guys to also process what you're feeling and all that. Certainly, I like to think that, the area where I am the most well-versed is the safety of the CrossFit Edwardsville community, the people that we have at CrossFit Edwardsville, the staff, all of you CrossFitters out there. And I can say with absolute confidence and conviction that we do take your safety as a absolute top priority. And I think that you guys can feel that as well. I think you guys can feel that while we embrace the intensity and the extremeness of CrossFit as a fitness regimen, and we even, we bathe in it and we bask in it to some extent, we are knowingly a way more intense, way more extreme fitness protocol than the average gym routine. We're well aware of that, but we also temper that by being, I like to think, wise and thoughtful and careful and cautious for the well-being of our athletes. And we recognize that all of us have limits, and that while exploring our limits is one of the things that help us become fitter, it's also an area where we have to have more vigilance. And so we do that. I'm quite proud to say here at CrossFit Edwardsville, we do that. And I like to believe, if I'm wrong, you guys can tell me, that you guys can actually feel, you see and you feel that we care about your safety as you have trusted us to be your coaches and help you to become your best athlete self, to perform at your best, do your best at the gym so you can be your best outside of the gym. I like to think that you guys can feel that we truly do care about you as people, not just as paying clients, and that you can feel every single day in all the things that we do that we are taking active measures to keep you guys safe. And we don't take that trust lightly. And I thank you guys for it. I want to let this, I don't want this tragedy to not become an opportunity for us to have an open dialogue. So if there's anything that we do that you feel could be done better from a safety perspective, I would like to hear that from you guys. And I have you guys know where to reach me. I'm at the gym regularly. You can walk right up to me and we could talk about that as well if you would like to. We could talk about it publicly. We could talk about it in confidence. You know, me, Toon, Caroline, like all of us, we're all ready and willing to talk to you guys if you have safety concerns, so you guys can feel heard and feel as though we really do take action on helping you guys to get a fitness experience, but in a safe and thoughtful way that allows you to have longevity in this activity so you can live your best life and not just win the workout, not just have your best possible workout, but let the workout be a means to an end for great things in the rest of your life. So for now, I thank you guys for the gift of your time and your attention. Again, prayers out to the family of Lazar Dukic. That's all.